That's pretty much how it was. Welcome back to the channel, and we're going to get started on this cab here. I just wanted to give you guys a quick overview on what we're actually going to do. So this will be a video series of going through the cab and getting all the rust repaired, but this first part here, we're focusing on this lower door pillar, since these are one of the common problem areas. Some of this other stuff you have to make by hand. So I'm going to show you how I get it back to that nice and solid, and actually just using some of my scrap metal here. Using these tools here, I'll put links in the description for everything I'm using to do on this project. You know, we'll just take it from there and we'll just be diving right into it. Kind of start planning my attack here. Good thing is it's still pretty much intact on the passenger side, so I'm going to use that basically as my template, because I mean, pictures and everything help, but you know, it's nice to have this stuff in front of you. So, but I was able to, you know, at least verify just looking at the rocker that even going to the outside and wrapping up here and then down in here, this is actually all one piece. So this is the outer rocker that comes down and down like that. And then your inner rocker comes in and it's welded to this. And then, like I said, that inner rocker comes up and then comes out. And I can show you that more on this side. You can see the separation there where they originally did the seam seal. That's gone. This flange is pretty much, you know, it's almost gone. There's a little bit left, but you can see how it comes up and then goes out. And then that actually comes out to here and goes up, and then this is pretty much, at least when you buy the patch panels, this is where it ends, and then it goes in there and stuff. So, but this is a good template to go with, because like I said, it's all still pretty much here. There's just a hole in here, and then it's nice to see. Yeah, that's just my question on the other side, because there isn't anything over there, but I just wanted to make sure that it continues and ties into the front door post like that on the back side, and it does. So that's good, because this is all flat stuff. This is actually pretty easy to remake. I know it looks worse or, you know, intimidating to some, but that's okay. And yeah, it would be easier to purchase new panels to do all this stuff, but to be honest with you, right now I don't have the funds, so I have at least this much material in scrap sheet metal from other projects with the same thickness. I even have some stuff here. I got enough stuff to make it work. It's just, it'll take some time, but I actually enjoy it, so I'm not worried about it. I just gotta put some effort into it. All right, so I'm gonna start down here, and I'm kind of missing, you know what I mean? Some of the original, like I said, the passenger side, that's all there. Grab yourself some cardboard, and I just started kind of fitting it up till I got a nice pattern. Now I can take this, a work of art here. Apologize for the lighting, I don't have any lighting out here yet. I just kind of started doing this, and it'll get me right in the ballpark this second. Just try and keep it simple. It actually makes it go faster if you're keeping it simple and taking your time. All right, got my workstation set up right now. So I'm gonna get started by removing some of this old out of here, and we gotta get this off, which I could almost do by hand. Don't do that, you can cut yourself. Yeah, like I said, just get some of this out of the way, that way you got a little bit more room to work with. I've done these before on this particular vehicle, so I'm aware of how the panels go together, but if you're not, I would suggest taking pictures
That way you see, like, you know, this one has to go in before the floor pan and whatnot, because you'll see how the flanges are spot welded and whatnot. So just something to pay attention to. Since I already had this stuff here lifted, I took the cutoff wheel grinder here, angle grinder, cut like that, flipped it around, cut the top, and that allowed me to, what I did, let's see, take this piece out. This piece was like this, so I got that there, and then there was a little bit left there. From there, I just kind of took it and just worked on the little bit of that edge of that spot weld, got that one off. I've determined I need to do something about the inside of this. So I also realized too, it's all one piece that travels into the bottom of the pillar here. I do have to do something about that metal there, that top edge, because I was able to actually crack it, so that's not good. Gonna have to get involved in this, and because I don't have a cab mount to like put everything on, you know, I got everything actually sitting on this. I'm gonna have to kind of nibble away at an area to allow myself, you know, give myself some working room. But since I'm doing that, I am going to, you know, put a little brace here, and that way we can try and keep things in line. I have another piece. Let's say I have another piece too. I'm probably just going to run it to right underneath the floor pan just to keep it this way. That way it just holds that all together. That's what I'm going to do next. It'll be a quick little demonstration for the next tool, the welder. And usually sheet metal, especially like 18 gauge up to 20 gauge, this is usually how I have it set on, because this isn't like, it's a stepped machine, so you don't have variable, you know, adjustment there with like your voltage or anything like that. So it's just number 2, and wire speed at about 25. We're gonna leave it right there. And then gas, then you got CO2, argon CO2 mixture there. It's just the way it looks right now, because as soon as I hit the trigger, it'll go down. But I usually have it set around 18 roughly. Seems to work all right for me, so I just leave it there. Okay, just a quick little update. Put a small brace in there, got this held up just enough. Surprisingly, this is actually still really feels strong, you know. But obviously we can't let it go since we're all the way in here. My main concern originally was this. And then as I moved forward, I found, you know, these spots here, and you could see it's all pitted, and I was like, it's not good. And then upon removal and flipping it upside down, I can finally see that this thing is cooked. But that's okay, because we're going to rebuild this whole part right now. Started out something like this. Okay. Used my trusty angle grinder, some gloves. Just worked around it. Of course, I got to clean up the edges and stuff, but
That's pretty much how it was. Obviously, we got a little bit of fine tuning to do, but I'd say that's pretty good. Okay, the next tricky part, this little box, I don't know what you want to call it. Anyways, so it's thicker than 16 gauge. It's probably originally possibly 1/8 inch. I just happen to have some 1/8 inch. So I got my stuff marked up. I did the best I could to measure all the dimensions. The tabs, these are like the front tabs that actually bend in there. And these ones here are the bottom ones. And I measured, see how it's got a rake to it. So I measured that difference there. So, you know, I'll cut all that out. And then when I get to here, I'll cut that like wedge shape. That way when I fold this all together, that part will sit down lower. And then it'll end up like that. Yep, I could cheat. I could use the plasma cutter, but I'm kind of sticking to the whole simple tool thing. So I would use this, but this would take forever. So that's my opinion. So I'm going to use a cutoff wheel on the death machine, death wheel, death machine, anvil grinder, whatever you want to call it. So that's what I'll use for this. Okay, I get spot welds. I'll probably tack it on the inside first just to hold it, and then I'll flip it around and do all that. Okay. That's it. That's all done. I'm going to show you the finished product. Alright, let me turn down this music. I'm getting ready to weld in that piece I made. Before I get it up in there in a hard to reach place. I mean, I could still do it, but it's just easier since it's out. Soak everything inside with primer sealer, protect it, because it's getting flipped upside down and it's, you know, sitting there like that. So I'm gonna give this just a few minutes to dry, and then I'm gonna get that slid in back in there, spot welded in the front, and then welded up right here, and then we'll be good to go. Okay, so this is what happens when you forget to record. So, what you missed. I got the inner piece in, and then this is the original part that I had cut out. But this bottom section was pretty cooked. So I used a scrap piece, made a little template out of the old one, cut out that, used all of the original, the good one, and that's just because the shape of it, everything is original to the rest of it. It makes it a lot easier to fit. So, and it already has this going for it, so it's very good for me. So I got that all tacked in, cleaned up, and then I am just finishing up getting this one here welded in. I just started to weld this seam here. So I'm gonna weld this seam, get that one in there, and then I'll be working on this.
And then after that, I'll take this brace off, and then this part here will be all pretty much solid again, especially on the outside, because it's going to be all tied into there, and it's even on the front and the inner structure. So I'm not too worried about this not being there. So see, rusty trucks, they have benefits. You just kind of sit in here comfortably. So my next task is, this panel originally continues all the way down right here, like that. I don't have it, didn't even know what it looked like. Luckily that side still has it intact. So previously I made a template of the inner rocker, but I had to kind of figure out what the rest of that looked like. So made like a little template piece over there, just that this part here. I'll show you. Yeah, this. It's got a curve on it. So let's see, it's got a little curve, and you can see how right here, that edge, how it's like cut off. It actually kind of turns in, it wraps up right here, and then just goes straight down. So combining these two pieces together, something like that. Now I have my patch essentially for the rest of this that ties down into this piece. And then once that's done, then I can take that original template, my inner rocker, cut that out, and then that's my inner rocker that will start going in there like that. And then this whole part will be rebuilt. All right, so we got the patch cut out and everything. So I used my original template, cut this piece out, and then I put this piece on, and then from there trace, you know, where I want it to land, and then that was my line that cut. And that way you actually cut it to fit, you know, your patch panel. So that's what it looks like. It's gonna tie all into there and wraps down in here, and down here it just gets spot welded like that. Okay, so quick tip. You know, we're gonna put in this patch panel. It gets plug welded. Got one there, got one there. And sometimes what I like to do, if I don't have like zinc, all the zinc primer, weld through zinc primer, you know, like this one's got that coating it comes with on the factory, or if it doesn't, it's just bare steel. I just paint it with primer sealer, stuff like that. But you never know where your weld's gonna land. So in this case, it's still got paint on it. So what I do, take a junk drill bit, small, and then I'll grind that nice and flat, run that inside the hole, work it around a little bit. Obviously get everything cleaned out, but now you have a clean, you know, bare metal spot, so it'll penetrate on that. And then of course get this all cleaned up on the outer portion, and then that'll all be good to go. And there you go, nice clean plug weld. We obviously need this piece here, and we need the weather stripping, like rail, lip, whatever you want to call it, flange. So two ways of doing this. I didn't have anything to go by, so what I did is went on the other side. It's actually still intact there, except for this piece here actually ties into this, and that's not the one that has the flange. So it's on the passenger side. This is actually still there. So I just use that as a reference, which is what you'll probably do in some cases like this. But, you know, use a reference, and then you could make, so one method is you can go back to just getting cardboard and just kind of cutting it out, making it look right so it matches, and then you can carry that over to a piece of sheet metal, and then that would do that.
Me, on the other hand, I had a piece from an old, like a rocker cab corner. So it actually already had this. This is actually technically from a Silverado, but you could see what I did is I put a couple slices in. That way I could bend that in on itself more and tighten up that radius so that way it'll match. So that's pretty much how it'll be, except for this piece actually will be out here a little bit more, but that's pretty much it. So that's pretty much good to go for now. And then don't have a piece of metal, but I have the template made for this, which wasn't hard. And it's the same thing, just get cardboard. I first went over to the passenger side, just kind of measured the width here, and then finishing with when it gets to this, the seam here, the end of this panel, and then transferred that to cardboard, a little bit bigger, and then brought it over to here and then made it work. Of course, now I actually don't know where it is, so I'll have to find that and then make a piece of sheet metal from that. Okay, I figure I get a shot before I can't hold this. So here's my rough cut of sheet metal here, and I actually formed the radius just by pushing it in to the existing panel, and yeah, just kind of working a little bit with the ball peen end, and then it pretty much just holds its shape at that point. And then I just slid in the flange part, so it's pretty much essentially how it'll go together. And the best part about it is this, for me, it didn't cost me anything, because if you have scrap metal laying around like I did, I was able to just do that basically just at the cost of my time and then whatnot from there. But it gave me good practice again with fabricating pieces like that, because it's always good to just stay on that or even learn something new from it. Okay, so I got a good bit of it knocked down, and you know, truthfully, I could keep going just the way it is, but I do have a little right angle grinder, and you can get attachments to run these flap wheels. Clearly, you could see the flap wheel I got is too big, but it's also 36 grit, so I'm just going to roll with it, and we'll be good. We'll knock it down more with this. It makes it a little easier. You can get in the tighter spots and stuff. So if you wanted to look at a tool like this, I think these run anywhere from maybe like 20 to 30 bucks. But yeah, so here we go. Of course, now I'm gonna find the air. Oh, there it is. Okay, so after a little bit of time, got that all cleaned up. Looks pretty good. This seam's pretty much knocked down. This whole pillar, just so you know, it's it's very strange, but the factory shape of it, it's kind of like rippled there. So like up in here, so it's a lot of unevenness. So getting this absolutely perfect is not critical at all. But everything's knocked down. Just kind of do like a little tour around it. That way you can see it. Oh, sorry about my hand. There you go. And this I just knocked down. I still have to weld that all shut, but that's all good. Mm-hmm. Okay, I just wanted to show you guys real quick. So I made a relief cut here, and I bent that metal inward because on the factory side, yeah, actually right where this hole is, you could see on this top panel, there's that crease there, and that's because it's actually, it rolls in. So that's what I'm creating here is and then I just got this little filler piece up top. I just got it tacked in, so I'll show you what I mean here. Pull this all off. So you can see, and that's my filler piece. It's not the greatest, but I can fill that in and then I'll clean it all up. A lot of extra there, but I couldn't really see that well, so it's all good. But I'll show you once it's all done. But this way you take it all off and weld it up. Okay. So I got my piece made. I got that recess in there now. Recess, you know what I mean? It goes into the contour like it's supposed to. And I just left that bead there, but that's fine. I'm not really worried about it. Otherwise, this is the first section of the inner rocker. It's just clamped in place. So the only thing I gotta do is get spot welded in there. That's still hot. That's right there. Yeah, just a couple along the bottom. So, and then that'll be done. And then we can keep plugging along. Okay, so just got done welding everything in. It looks goofy. I had to make that relief cut. You guys saw I cut it out of a real curved piece of metal, so that was my relief to just be able to flatten it down nicely. So got everything welded in. This is the first part of the inner rocker, like I said. So this will pretty much conclude the rebuilding of the pillar section here on the cab, and then I'll be continuing it, you know, down here with the inner rocker, and the next part will eventually move to the outer rocker repair too. So we'll get this part all squared away. That way, you know, we'll get everything in this section here done, because I want to be able to put a floor pan in here and do the cab mount. That way this part will all be strong again, because right now it's obviously not. So keep an eye out for the next one here as we move forward. Again, thanks for watching. I appreciate the support and everything. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe if you know, you like what you're seeing and you want to follow along. Again, thanks, and we'll see you soon.